Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about a place that is connected with my roots, and I'm going to reminisce about it a little bit and talk a little bit about it. And it is called Albertson Park. And Albertson Park, as its name, it's located in Albertson, New York. Albertson is located approximately 8 miles from Queens, so it wasn't far from the Queens border. The park itself actually is named John D. Camerer Park, and it was named after him, and he was some Republican figure, and he was an attorney, and he also grew up in Williston Park, New York, in the same town that I grew up in. And anyway, Albertson Park was I remember it being a very peaceful, quaint place, very tranquil. It was something where there would usually be some people there, but it wouldn't be overly crowded or inundated with people. But I can remember going to the basketball court a lot. That was my favorite spot at Albertson Park, and it would seem like in the majority of cases I would walk up to somebody and say, do you want to play a game one-on-one? Or if there were, like, say 3 people there, it would be 2-on-2, and the majority of the time they would say okay. They'd say, well, let me warm up a little bit first, let me shoot. So contrary to what a lot of people may think, people in New York, actually many of them can be amicable and friendly, and it's a misconception I think a lot of people have, unfortunately. But what I want to say is that Albertson Park was a place for me to go to that I really had strong enjoyment, and really was an escape, and it was something where I can do something. It gave me something to do on those days when I was bored and restless and was trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do this day, and beautiful days to go outside. Albertson Park was the ideal place. There was even one time I can remember when there was an elderly gentleman there, and I played horseshoe with him. Albertson Park, it has a number of things you can do there. Now, the last time I was there was in 1994, and I'm not sure how it has perhaps evolved or changed since that time, but I remember them having a baseball field there. They had a basketball court. They even had a spot to play shuffleboard at, and there was also a very good sized, I guess you could say, grass area where you can just play whatever at that time, whether it might be football or something else. And you had many spacious areas where you can play different sports, whether it was frisbee or football or what have you. And I thought, when I reminiscing about this place, as I stated before, very peaceful. It was really, I would never say it was like completely desolate or completely empty. Now, there were some occasions when I'd go there where there would be no people. In those days, I guess you could say it was like converting lemons to lemonade, and I just made the most of it, and I would get a lot of practice in as far as shooting baskets. And I can remember there's some memorable moments there, more on I would say on the basketball court than anything. I can remember one game when it was a 2-on-2 game, and it was me and a younger person playing. I was like maybe 22 at the time, and then there was we were playing against 2 fairly young kids at that time, and they were actually beating us 10-1 in the basketball game. We were playing a 15. And I guess the reason I was being so passive in my manner of playing, and I was not playing in the most aggressive style, because I guess I was feeling sorry for them or something, because they were younger and I didn't want to look like I was just being, I guess, overly aggressive and trying to just romp over them and taking advantage of my size or what have you. But after that, once it hit 10-1, I just said, well, I'm not going to worry about their stature or their age anymore. And then we wound up, I just got more aggressive on the rebounding, I guess you could say, and forced the issue, so to speak, and we wound up eventually winning the game like 15-13 or something. But I just can remember that being one of those memorable experiences. It's kind of comical at the same time. And then I can remember there was one guy that I played. He was a little bit older than me, and I used to kind of nickname him Mr. Invincible because he used to beat me repeatedly and repeatedly at one-on-one basketball. We wouldn't play with a tight defense. We would just tighten up maybe if we'd get close to the hoop. So, and he dominated, and used to beat me constantly. Then it got to a point after maybe about 20 times where I eventually conquered him and won a game of one-on-one. But it was just one of those things where sometimes you have to play good opposition in order to improve, and I think that's what happened with me there. I had been criticized, at least by one person, that I couldn't play basketball on a regular hoop because I had been accustomed to playing in my grandmother's driveway, and the hoop was on an incline. The driveway was on an incline, so it wasn't on a flat level. So it was a little bit unorthodox. But anyway, those were some memorable moments. There was another memorable basketball moment I had when I was playing somebody, and I believe it was winter time. I'm sure it probably was. I mean, there was slush and probably ice, snow on the ground, and we just played a quick game to like 5, and I can remember the score being tied at 4 for the longest time, and me and the person I was playing, we just kept missing shot after shot, and I just remember eventually driving to the hoop and making a short range shot and won 5-4, and I thought that was kind of a memorable moment because how painstaking it was to get that final basket to win, coupled with the fact of the temperature, and most people aren't going to be playing in that kind of weather. And if I remember correctly, I wasn't even wearing gloves at the time because I was afraid if I was going to wear gloves, I wouldn't have the dexterity and be able to have the gripping ability on the basketball. So those were some things I do that were memorable, I would say, playing at Albertson Park, and it was just, and there were some times when I played some football with some people there, and those were obviously enjoyable times as well. Not all moments there were about really vigorous sports competition. This was, even on a recreational level, I would say it still can be vigorous sports competition. I remember a few times playing chess with somebody there, and it was just it really was about having variety in many things to do at that place. And if anybody is in that area and has not gone to Albertson Park yet, I would really recommend it because it is it's a very nice, peaceful place, and there's a number of things to do. And even if you just want to go there and take a walk around the park, I mean, it's very beautiful. It has a lot of scenic beauty, the grass and everything. It's just something that I think, as far as little kids go, when I was there last time, and I don't know if they've done anything through any renovations or what have you, but I believe there were two playgrounds. There was one near the front entrance, and there was one at the back entrance of the park. So those are some things I thought were, and also, I don't know if they still have it, but they had a tennis court there as well. So that was something else. Not that I really played it that much there. Tennis was not exactly my forte or something that I really was enamored with or liked to do. But tennis, well, they did have a tennis court there as well. And anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube segment for Albertson Park. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.